So JuJu Watkins just had by far her best game of the season. And coming off a slump, she needed it. And it is funny, like, seeing all these articles being like, after this one game, you know, is JuJu Watkins, like, is she going to be the greatest player of all time? And I'm like, she's had a 5-game stretch where she shot 30% from the field. Like, she's had one good game in the last, well, one good game against good opposition in 2 months. So I'm not going to go that far. And this is her best game since the UConn game. But she's had some iffy games. Like, she was not good against Iowa. I don't care about the amount of free throws she hit. She was not good against Iowa. She was horrific in their previous game. But this was the best game she's played. And I don't think we should jump the gun on JuJu Watkins based on one game. I mean that. Like, it's a regular season game. Yes, she did unbelievably well against UCLA. Yes, she basically carried them by herself. But at the same time, UCLA have, there are times where her team has carried her to wins. This time she carried her team to win. But this one was a big game. This was an absolutely huge game. Like, Lauren Betts was not good. Rhea Marshall did a good job on her. And the thing is, like, basically, USC had a big lead early. And then UCLA, from the halfway through the second quarter to halfway through the third quarter, just blitzed them. I thought it was over. I genuinely thought it was over. I thought there is absolutely no way USC come back. They had the big lead. JuJu Watkins had a 25-point first half. Like, JuJu literally had a 25-point first half and got them a lead as big as, I'm trying to think what was their biggest lead? Big as 11. And then, like, UCLA had a lead as big as 7 at the end of the third. And at this stage, like, I literally was like, I had woke up and I was just checking the score. I was watching a bit of the game, and I went to sleep at this stage. I genuinely went to sleep, but it was just the last 4 minutes. UCLA could not score, and USC just blitzed them. They blitzed them. And, like, again, it's not like JuJu did anything crazy in that run to win the game, but the reason they were in the game was because of JuJu. Like, obviously the rest of the players stepped up in the last few minutes, but Kiki Iriafen, I'm sorry, there is no reason why Kiki Iriafen should be a top 5 pick. There is no, like, she's pulling a Hailey Van Lith, by the way. She is absolutely pulling a Hailey Van Lith. Hailey Van Lith was meant to be a first rounder in 2024, and in the end, she was not going to get drafted. Like, Kiki Iriafen might actually play her way out of the first round this year, and I don't care if you're looking at box scores. Kiki Iriafen has not been good this year. She doesn't play defense. Like, she just does not play defense. She can't shoot. I actually don't know what the story is with that. But JuJu, this was her one really good shooting game. Like, we always say this, like, if you look at JuJu's percentages on the season, if you look at her game logs, like, JuJu, the only problem, and by the way, if, oh my God, I can't see it, but, like, basically JuJu, the only reason JuJu's shooting above 30% from 3 on the season is because she has had a game where she went 8 for 9, she went 6 of 9 today, and I think she went 5 of 6 in another game. She started off hitting 5 threes in a row. Like, if JuJu Watkins can do what she does, if she can become consistent on offense, yeah, okay, then we can start. Then we can start the Caitlin Clark versus JuJu Watkins, like, conversations. Because JuJu as a help side defender is ridiculous. She had 8 blocks. She had 38 points and 8 blocks. Like, that's unheard of. It's insane. And, like, it's funny, JuJu Watkins is right now a better defender than offensive player. But when she gets hot, she's one of the most unguardable players. Like, I'm just trying to think on offense who is more unguardable I've seen in college basketball when they're just on. Caitlin Clark, obviously, that I've seen. Like, since, obviously, like, Kelsey Mitchell, maybe. Kennedy Carter. Kennedy Carter was more unguardable than her when she was just on. Like, JuJu has that potential to be a 20-point-per-game scorer in the W and perennial all-defensive player. Like, I don't see her... Like, for me, just watching her play, like, I don't see, for example, a player that's better than Stewie. Like, I watched Stewie through UConn. I don't see a player better than Stewie. Because I think, offensively, Stewie's a much better shooter. Was a much better shooter than JuJu. JuJu just is so streaky. But their potential is there. The potential is there. You can't start the conversation with JuJu. By the way, JuJu over Paige Beckers, cool. She's better than Paige Beckers right now. Just The issue is that Hannah Hidalgo is better than both of them. Like, Hannah Hidalgo's player of the year. But my favorite part about this is, like, I'm seeing people on Twitter being like, JuJu had more blocks in this game than Hannah Hidalgo's had in the season. If we start judging 5'6" point guards by the amount of blocks they have, I just don't know. It's like saying, I don't know, let's just say off the top of my head, I'm guessing that Darko Milicic had more blocks than Steph Curry in his career. That, you know, Darko had more blocks than Steph, so Steph actually sucks. Like, that's the dumbest argument you can make. Or it's like judging Shaq, saying, I don't know, Dragan Bender hit more 3-pointers than Shaq. Dragan Bender's better than Shaq. Like, it's the dumbest argument ever. But what JuJu did last night, she carried them. The first half was, like, when they were ahead, was literally JuJu versus UCLA. When JuJu got a little bit quiet in the third quarter, UCLA pulled it away, and JuJu got it back. And eventually down the stretch, her teammates did step up. But like 8 blocks is madness. Is absolute madness. And like, look, Lauren Betts, by her standard, did not have the greatest game in the world. She started off well. Like, Lauren Betts did start off, well, sorry, she started off slowish, and she was really good in the third quarter. Like, from the time UCLA came back into that game, she looked really good. Again, Janiah Barker was pretty good early on in the game, but like, for someone who's projected to be a first round pick, I just don't understand that one. But yeah, like, if you look at the rest of the team, 1 of 4, 1 of 4, 1 of 8, 2 of 5, 4 of 14, 0 of 2. Like, Rhea Marshall, 0 points. In fairness, she's a lockdown defender at times, but like, again, in foul trouble with 14 minutes on the floor. Like, this was a game. This was the JuJu Watkins statement game. This really was. And she needed it. She needed after stinking it up against Iowa. No offense to her. By her standards, she stunk it up against Iowa. She needed that one. This is like almost like the Stanford game last year. And this is going to be like, that's a statement win. And it'll be very interesting to see how she gets on through the Big Ten tournament. Because the Big Ten conference, like, is so stacked. It's so stacked. Like, I don't know who's going to win the Big Ten. Like, a team like Iowa could fuck about and win it. Like, is the Big Ten standings anywhere here? Like, they're now top of the Big Ten. USC. Because they're not undefeated in Big Ten play, but they do have the win against UCLA. And looking at the rest of their season, is there any games USC are going to lose the rest of the way? Sure. They play UCLA again, in fairness, on the 2nd of March. And that's a game where UCLA have got to get theirs back. Like, in a couple of weeks, UCLA have a chance for revenge. And if JuJu can do this again, and by the way, if JuJu can start consistently doing this, like, if you're looking at JuJu Watkins, ever since, like she had a 35-point game, and it's like 22, not top scorer for 4 of the last 5, and then a 38. Like, if JuJu can play consistently like she did yesterday, and obviously yesterday was an anomaly, you can't consistently go 5 or 6 from 3. But if she can consistently give you that defense while putting up, let's just say 30, like, that is a player where you're like, okay. If she can put up near 30 on decent efficiency at any stage while playing the defense she does, then we can start the conversations. Could JuJu be the next level? And a lot of people are like, oh, it took 50 years for like a Caitlin Clark to come around. It's not going to happen the next year. People don't really understand like the boom in women's sports. Like, the next Caitlin Clark level player is going to be there soon. Like, the young players, like, everyone's talking about how hard it is for rookies to play. Like, last year, we talked about JC Sheldon like she was struggling. JC Sheldon would have been like top 3 in Rookie of the Year some years. JC Sheldon probably would have won Rookie of the Year in 2021. And she was seen as a disappointment last year. So people like don't understand how good players coming through college are now. Like, how good players are coming through and how good players are getting every year. Like, every single year there are more players coming through, more elite players coming through. Obviously there's JuJu and Hannah. But like, if you look, the freshman class is stacked with Sarah Strong, like Cambridge. There's a few others. Silo Swords is a hooper. Toby Fournier is a hooper. There's so many good freshmen as well. And then you're going to see more and more in every high school class because of the boom in women's sports. And then in 10 years' time, you're going to see it really, really boom. And that's when it's like, these records are kind of made to be broken. I don't think Juju's going to break the record because, if I'm not mistaken, USC have the number one recruit coming in next year. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I think they've got the number one recruit. And obviously, Juju takes a lot of shots and she's not the most efficient. But if she can improve that efficiency and do some stuff like this more consistently, maybe not like heat up like she did, but like if she can be the best offensive player and defensive player on the floor against the number one team in the nation, like if she can be that, if she can be a level where in college she is, no matter who she plays against, the best offensive and defensive player on the floor consistently, yeah, then we can start arguments. Then we can start the conversation. We can't start the conversation yet because, in my opinion, she hasn't had the like one-man show impact and statistical impact of a Caitlin Clark because of her facilitating and the fact Clark's as good not that far off Juju in rebounding, but Juju's a much better defender than Clark. But she hasn't done enough over the 4 years to start that comparison. I think player for player, she's just better than Paige. And I don't think, as far as the winning is concerned, she's in the Stewie conversation. But like, to say Juju's better than Caitlin, you got to put Juju in the greatest college players of all time conversation. I'm not ready to do that just yet. But if she can start doing this consistently, because she has been, if nothing else, she has been consistently inconsistent this year in college. And she's been so inconsistent in Big Ten play. But yeah, I'm not going to overreact to one game, but it was an unbelievable game.